there's a lot of new people here today and a lot of visitors, but for those of us who have been on this journey together, I just wanted to kind of do a short recap of where we've been. Last October, and when I saw this, I couldn't believe it was last October, I stood on the platform about a week after Jim announced he was stepping down and retiring, and I showed you this picture, and I invited you all to be open to receive our new spiritual leader. And we've been on an amazing journey since then. We've had the labyrinth experience, the practice that we all walked and brought our energy to every room in the center and put what we were bringing on those cards. And those cards were held in reverence the entire time that we were on our search for our new leader. And then we had the candidates with 3 long weekends of interviews and the Sunday service and the workshop. And I just want to thank everyone who was a part of any of this in any way, because it took your time, it took a deep spiritual commitment. And I'd like to thank our spouses and our families, for those of us who were here a lot and not at home during that time. Thank you very much. And then we had a vote, and by a huge consensus, we elected Stephen Rambo to be our spiritual leader. One of the absolute highlights of being the president of our board was to call Steve and tell him the good news. And that phone call, I wish I would have taped it, because I can't fully describe the joy and the delight and kind of the surprise in Steve's voice. And he had to take a moment so he could take it all in. And I realized later what that was an absolute deep expression of someone who is very humble. And I was speaking to Reverend Keith Cox about it one day, and he said, I know somebody who's known Steve for a really long time. And he said he hasn't changed a bit. He is one of the most humble people he's ever known. And that phone call was just the beginning of Steve coming into our center. He's been at both board meetings since the phone call. He's come to events. He really did everything he could, because while at the same time he had to lead Founders Center. And we know what that's like. So this is where we are. This is an amazing day. I'm so glad that it's packed. This is awesome. But before I actually turn the platform over to you, we have a moment of appreciation, and we would like to call Dr. Susan up to the platform. One of the last best things Dr. Jim told our board to do was to make Dr. Susan our interim spiritual leader. So for the past 8 months, she has worn even more hats than she normally wears and has led us spiritually and administratively through this entire process. So we have, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the adjuncts, and the practitioner corps, we have a little gift for you. This bag is full of gift cards for Dr. Susan to use to pamper herself and go on a shopping spree at Joann's Fabrics, her favorite place. So we are so grateful to you. We are so grateful to you. Thank you so much. And now you can stay up here for this. One more thing. full of surprises today. So now the men's group has a, would you join us, please? The men's group has a welcome gift for you.
I don't know.
Wait,
If you know these giants, you don't know.
it's not ticking, so we're okay.
Thanks, Costa.
My name is Costa. I am in charge of the men's group. Not really. Everybody's in charge of the men's group.
You're a giant. You're the giant of the giants.
Giant man. Okay, thank you very much. This is a present from our men's group to you. I need you to open it, please.
Oh.
Open it now.
Put it halfway toward you guys.
And bring it out. Have them read it.
Oh.
Okay. It says, Tommy Bahama, Paradise Bound, Smooth Sailing. Also,
And it fits. Lovely.
I would like the men's group, whoever is present, to please stand up. Yeah. Okay. So, to all the men's that you're not in our group, it's an invitation to you to join us. I have a sign-up sheet and a. Yeah, thank you. And all I need is your name and your email address so I could tell you guys what's going on. We meet every second Saturday of the month, and we do lots of fun things.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you
Should
are
I tell about the
welcome.
candidating day? My candidating day.
Oh,
You guys
yes.
were meeting.
That's right.
And the next week, you're on your way to a retreat at Lake Isabella. I mean, come
Yes.
on, right? How hard is that?
Yeah.
I'm
so
going.
This is an invitation for you to join our men's group.
Thank you.
Okay, but I'm the man in charge.
That's fine. You're the giant of the giants. I get it.
Just
Wow.
kidding.
Thank
So
you.
glad to have you
Thank
here
you.
with us.
Thank you, Costa. Thank you so much. Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And it's Costa's birthday today, too.
Happy birthday!
I have one quote I'd like to read, and then we'll turn it over to our new spiritual leader. What is known at one point is known at all points, and it responds instantly and automatically. And one last thing, this saying keeps popping up as we've talked about shared leadership and our vision, and I keep hearing this thing that said, bosses and directors say go, but leaders say let's go. So
Bingo.
Steve,
Let's go. Let's go.
Mwah.
All right, let's go. All right, I'll put this right here. Whose are these? Do they work for me? Hold on. Woo, my arms don't need to be that long yet. Okay. My. You guys know how to love big. I gotta tell you. I have no idea where to begin. I have these notes. I have stuff here. It's just, wow. Okay, so she mentioned founders. Founders in the house! I'm going to call out some folks. Riverside, California in the house. Reno, Nevada in the house. Mama in the house. Do we know how to celebrate at CSL Simi Valley? There's just so much. I was thinking about, as I was thinking about my talk, I was thinking, okay, now do I do like a here we are, here we go talk? Or, no, I'm gonna be here. I'm here. So I'm just doing a talk like I do any other time. Now, Keith, I was talking to Keith last week. He had me cracking up. He was saying, yeah, so no more morning stands for you. You know, like one night stand. Right? It's like, I'm here. I'm here. So the talk title is OIC. And what I have come to understand is that whenever I come up with a talk title, I tend to live that talk title the entire week. And so this has been a week of OIC. Hey, Greg. This has been a week of OIC. I've been seeing so much. My vision has just been like, and one of the things that I've gotten to see is just how special this experience is. To be so warmly welcomed, to have a Dr. Susan. I mean, I was the administrator at Founders for 10 years, and when I thought about where I wanted to be in ministry, I said, you know what? I am done with administration. There has got to be a Steve in the house. Man, I got it with Dr. Susan. She's so perfect. And also what I've seen is how wonderful this place operates. I mean, think of and when we were doing the prayer this morning, it came up that it's been 9 months. Look what you birthed in 9 months, right? Somebody burped me, you know? But one of the things that happened is this place held together. There was nothing falling apart. Everything worked in well. The attendance stayed up. The giving stayed up. The activities stayed vibrant. You had wonderful speakers here. I mean, so thank you to Sunshine and to Keith, especially the last couple of weeks, who kind of warmed things up on the stage here for me. But what I really want to acknowledge is the movement that we have made over the longer time. Now, I was tickled at one of the slides I saw earlier. There were two slides kind of flipping back and forth before the service. I don't know if you saw these or not, but one of them said, please silence your cell phones. And then the next one said, check in on Facebook. And anyway, silence your cell phone. Check in on Facebook. She's my daughter. She's my son. She's my daughter. She's my mother. She's my sister. I mean, whoa. So what I'd like for you to do, actually, is if you have a smartphone, I'd ask you now to take it out and turn it on. And we're going to take some time for this. And now, how many of you are Facebookers? Got Facebook pages? I know a lot of you because you've asked me for friend requests, and I've been really slow. I'm going to get to that. I will accept you all because you accepted me. All right? Okay, so go to your Facebook page. If you're not a Facebook person, think about somebody that you really care about that knows how important this place is to you, and open up a text window for that person. All right? Because we're going to do something here. Because what I've come to understand is, you know how upgrades, you know, you like the 3.0, the 4.0, the new cell phone and everything. When you have an upgrade, you don't throw away what wasn't working. You retain what works really well, and then you add some new features to the next. And that's what's happening for See-Me right now. And so I just want to acknowledge that. And what I've got for you here is the next slide. This is what I'd like for us to make. I want to make an impact on Facebook from See-Me right now for everybody. And so, here, take your time, type this in. CSL See-Me 3.0 is ready to launch. Thank you to Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones 1.0 and Dr. Jim Lockhart 2.0, right? We honor you both. Know that your presence is felt as we step into this new era with Reverend Stephen. So we'll take time. Go ahead, type it in. I know it takes a little while. I'll do it. Huh? Wow. This is what I talk about shared leadership. Linda just said, just photograph it and then post the image. What a smart idea. And I was going to sit here and type all that? That's just stupid.
I thought of speaking into Siri, but
No, Siri might, no telling what Siri might tell him if we let her do it. All right. Let me get my eyes on. I know we're taking some time out, but that's okay. We're going to be here a while. We're not going anywhere.
what's the Wi-Fi password?
No, it's guest. Simi Valley guest, and it's guest. Yep, Simi Valley guests, and it's just guests. Okay. Yeah, that's a great. Oh, that works so good. Just posting the photo. Yeah, that's so smart. I love smart people. Done. Okay, but I want them to see it, so I need to tag Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones and Jim Lockhart. I'm PH. Done. Dennis.
You didn't have to upgrade the bandwidth inside here.
Oh, is it slowing it down? Okay.
Yeah, we need
All right. So if you've got that, that's what we're going to do. So that if it's not working right now, do it before the day is out, okay? Because I really think it's important. Now, the other thing, while we're going to that, the other thing that happened that I saw this week is I was at this experience with some friends in Oakland. A friend of mine decided, a single woman, decided she wanted to be a mom. And she was just definite about this. And what she decided to do was to create a family. She found these two boys that she wanted to adopt. And she created a family unit for these guys, like 17 people that became this village to help her raise these two boys. And they were adopted on September 7th. And on September 7th, what she does is she has something called Forever Family Day. And all the people that are involved in this adoption come together to celebrate these boys. And this year, she gave them both these books that were the stories of their lives. That started out with, Mary, what's the name of that picture again? Where's Mary? What's that picture? Started with the ultrasound picture. You see, I haven't done this, right? Oh, wow, I can hear myself better. Started with the ultrasound picture, and then it showed their birth mom and how the birth mom prayed for them to have a right life, that she couldn't take care of them, and then the new mom, they prayed to have them bring into their life, and the village, it was all together, and then they had a slideshow, and it was like, oh my God, it was beautiful. And so from that, I came up with this thought that, hey, that's what we're doing. So after the service, this is going to be See Me Family Day. The second Sunday will be See Me Family Day. And my letter of call, we've made a letter of call that the board and I and Dr. Susan has signed. And it's out on one of the tables. And everybody is invited to sign it. Because we're all in this together, okay? So thumbs up on that? All right. So look for that outside. We're all adopting each other. Right? This is the See Me. You are my new family. All right? So thank you. Thank you. All right. So, OIC. Let's jump into it now. Before you can see, you have to be able to see. And this came from me when I was thinking about the Genesis story. Day one, God created the heavens and the earth, and there was void and darkness, and the face of the God was hovering over the waters, and then God said, let there be light. Pretty cool. Not a bad idea. And then he separated the light into the day and into the night. And that's very, metaphysically speaking, the light that was the day, well, again, I'll talk about that in a minute. But first, before that, what kind of struck me, though, is 4 days later, if you're familiar with the Genesis story, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars to give light. Now, that's a curious idea. It tells me something. God's either really forgetful, or there was something different between the light of the first day and the light of the fourth day. And that difference is the light of the first day is what allows us to see it all. The light of the first day is the light of consciousness. Oh, I see. How many times do we say that when we dawn an idea, when we have a conscious thought? It's not just, oh, I see the camera over here, but, oh, I see, I have a conscious thought. And that separation of the light, the day and the night, that's our conscious awareness, and the night, our subconscious awareness. So all of it's covered right there. We think of these stories as some kind of allegorical, kind of mythological, did it happen? Doesn't matter. It's what it means to us. And this meaning is really important. in Ephesians, there's a wonderful quote. It says, everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. Everything that's exposed by consciousness, everything that you think about, that's what you get to see. That's what out pictures. That's what we teach in our teaching. What we see becomes what we have, what we experience. It is done unto you as you believe. It is done unto you as you see, as you think. And everything that we give light to, everything that we give thought to, becomes a light, becomes an idea, becomes something that unfolds in our experience. So this story about OIC, I hope at the end of this, OIC will have a new kind of metaphysical, spiritual alertness to you, to let you know that you've tapped into that divine spirit that is within you. Oh, I see. Now, the first part of that, really awesome. A circle, right? It's that center that's within each and every one of us, but that circumference that is nowhere. It's an exclamation of excitement, a sudden idea. Sometimes it can be pain. Oh, but it can also be wonderful idea. Oh, an attention grabber. But also this idea of oneness. You know, in the Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Holmes writes, the whole of God is present at any and every point within God. And if you take that thought idea in mind, the whole of God is present at any and every point within God. And think about every time you say, that's what you're saying to yourself. You're saying, God's right here present in this very moment. And all of God is present in this very moment. And I am present in this very moment. And since God can't be separated into little parts, that means that I am part of God. I am God right now in this moment, expressing an idea, having my Genesis moment, having a light, a thought, developing, unfolding from me. And I can take that thought and do something with it. Now, we break it down again. We got the O. We're going to talk about C. But what about the I? The I that sees. Now, that's pretty powerful, too. This whole statement, when I thought about it first, it was like, it might be something, might be a cute title. But then it started to take on all this spiritual significance. It's going, whoa, I'm really into something. In fact, I started reading about light. I talked about this at the candidating, but, I do tangents, and sometimes I go off on something. And so, exactly. I embrace my tangents. So I'm reading about light. I'm trying to find out some new stuff for you guys. I want to really impress you, right? And I was like, no, that's not going to work, because the guy I was reading, this guy named Arthur Young, he was so deep. He's talking about light and quantum physics and particles exploding, and light can be seen but not can be seen because it's traveled so fast. And my brain was exploding, and I turned the page. Let's see if this is going to work here. Come on, stop. I turned the page on this book that I'm reading from Arthur Young, and it's just overwhelming. I can't even keep up with what he's saying, and all of a sudden, he says in here, the next line, after I'm having my mind blown, right, the next line says, perhaps I should let go of that. We are already pressing the mind beyond its limits. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and see what happens. I'm like, dude, are you serious? He put that in the book. That's my favorite line in any book I've ever read, And then he went on ahead and he pressed the limits. He started talking about light travels so fast that time stops, and that when you see a particle of light, all you can do is have seen it. All you can do is recognize it because it's gone right after you see it. It's like, whoa, that's pretty incredible. So the light of consciousness that is within us is moving lickety-split fast. When you get an idea, what that's told me is, when I get an idea, I better do something with it, because it's often running someplace else, and somebody else is going to grab that idea if I don't do something with it. There's a poet, her name was Ruth Stone, and she likes to write poetry, and when she would write her poetry, she said that it would just come to her, that it was like something traveling, and it would just take over, and then it would come out in the paper. And one day, a poem was coming at her, and she felt it coming, and it moved by so fast that she almost missed it. She could only grab the poem by the tail and pull it back in, and when she wrote the poem down, it came down written backwards. How about that for light traveling, huh? Talk about a light chaser. That woman was something. But that's just an element, that's just an example of how powerful your thoughts are. And if you don't, yeah, space-time continuum stuff. And if you don't, I can hear you. You need to sit back there. And not a chance. Not a chance. And, yeah, right. It's not TV. You can hear stuff. Exactly. But that just emphasizes how powerful our thoughts are and the fact that we don't have any boundaries. So if we have an idea and we don't work on the idea, someone else will take your idea. Like I had the idea of those things that are on top, you know, the prices, you put the food through the hole on the little bar, and that bar used to stick out, and it used to scare me that you like poke yourself or something with it. And I thought that maybe they should create something to go over the front of it, and once they created that, they could just put the price on it. And then I went to the store one day, and there it was. My idea. Because I didn't do anything with it. Reverend Eloise Oliver says, the reason there's a patent office, I'm using Reverend E because my mom's here, she goes to East Bay, used to. But she says the reason there's a patent office is not to figure out who had the idea first. It's to figure out who did something with the idea first. Right? Do something with your idea before somebody else does. Okay, that was a tangent. Back. So, the eye that sees. The eye that sees. All right? Now, it's interesting that in OIC, I is in the middle because the eye that sees is the center of consciousness. It is the I am. It is who you are. Neville writes, really, I love Neville. Here's a great one from him. He says, I may forget who I am, where I am, what I am, but I cannot forget that I am. And we do. We do sometimes forget who we are. We forget that we're divine emanations of spirit. We forget that we're powerful. We forget that we're strong. We get into depression. We get into negativity. We get into the back of a slow-driving car. We forget everything about who we are then. Right? Or you could be the driver who watched me do a donut in the middle of the freeway yesterday. Not freeway, but in the middle of the street. I'm driving along, and I thought that the freeway ramp was over there, so I was going to make a U-turn. And as I started to make the U-turn, I saw that, oh, the freeway ramp is really there, so I just kept on turning. right in the middle, right outside the Descanso Gardens. And all the cars on the other side, it was like one of those, like the movie thing. It was, look out for the crazy driver in the Ford Focus. But it is true. It is true that we forget who we are. We forget where we are. We forget what we are. But we're still acknowledging. We're still acknowledging that we are. We can still have a relationship with ourselves. And that's the to see part. You see, in order to see, we must have an awareness. We must feel a presence. We must be conscious, sentient. Sentient, which is the action of consciousness. It's to know. It's to actually feel. Oh, I see. Oh, I feel that. I feel you. I get that idea. I understand that. Christian De Quincey, another fellow who you probably shouldn't read much of unless you've got a lot of time and some Tylenol. He says, you can see the light from the sky with your eyes, but you can only understand its meaning through the vision of the heart. You can do the optical, physical thing of seeing something, you know, but in order to get it, you have to feel it. You have to put it into your heart. Another thing he says that I really like, he sums this whole thing down into these four words. Energy flows, consciousness knows. I mean, if you think about right now, if you're just hang back for a minute and think about what's going on with your body, the weight of your body on the chair, maybe some tension, maybe you're recognizing some muscles. I feel myself a little excited right now, you know. I can feel my heartbeat. I can feel me trying to, you know, do my breathing. I can feel all of that. Now, that's energy moving through your body. But the part that's aware of all that we just talked about, that's consciousness. That's the part that knows. That's the part that knows. So let's move into this whole phrase and put it all together. Oh, I see. This allows us the opportunity to use our vision, to use our intention, to use our imagination on purpose. to engage ourselves in better days and a better life and a happier experience. Another thing about light is how it's related to other words. Light also, that, but also light, things that float. Light is related to levity, which is a word that's also related to some expansion. If you put yeast in your dough, it will expand. It becomes levity, it expands. So it not only lifts, but also expands. There's a lifting activity that goes on with light. Multiple meanings behind it. So what is your response to things that lift? What is your response to the idea of levity? Frank Richelieu, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got a chance to hang out with him. He's something else. He says, be lifted up into new dimensions of consciousness. Be lifted up into new dimensions of consciousness. Think about that when you're lifting up. I mean, one of the things I love to do is coming over the crest. And did you notice this down here? You know what that is? You're welcome. The mural looks lovely. When you're coming over the crest of the Santa Susana Pass, how expansive the view is of Simi Valley. When I was flying back from Oakland earlier this week, I could see all of Simi Valley in its relationship to the San Fernando Valley and Malibu, and you could see Westlake. The higher up, the more you can see. The higher we allow our consciousness to lift, the more we're able to see, the more life we can experience, the better our experience of our days can be. This idea of OIC calls us to rise up to a higher vista, to a higher mountain view, so that we can have a better experience of life. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do this week. It came to me that the phrase suddenly, not only is OIC a new spiritual phrase for me, but also lighten up. Lighten up, right? Don't take it so heavy. Don't make it so deep. All you got to do is lighten up. Lift up a little higher, a little higher. And then, oh, I see. And so it is.